Should you ever find yourself in the 15th century, one of the most common helmets that you would likely encounter in medieval combat would have been the Sallet, the helmet that I'm currently wearing on my head right now, which was usually paired, pretty much always paired, with what is called a Bevor, which is the guard that goes under the helmet and sort of protects the chin and neck. Here I have the Sallet put on second and the Bevor put on first. Which was historically sometimes the case. As you can see, the strap from the Sallet, which is the helmet, comes down and wraps around the Bevor. Now, normally you would put the helmet on first. I think it was most common for people to put the Sallet on first, and they would strap it on, and then they would put the Bevor on, and it would go underneath the Sallet helmet. However, as you can see here, it is much more sturdy when the Sallet is actually put on after you have put on the Bevor, and you simply strap the strap of the Sallet around and underneath the Bevor, which attaches the Bevor, which is the neck guard, to the Sallet, which is on top here, and makes it a lot harder to knock the helmet off your head and knock it up so that you can get a pike or a spear or something in there. Now, I don't currently have the best Sallet in the world. As you can see, the visor has to be pulled all the way back and sit on the top, because otherwise there's just not enough friction to keep it up just above my head, or it will just smack back down and bang me in the nose. As you can see, we've got a nice little leather strap which goes around the Bevor under here, which guards the neck, and I'm just undoing it here so I can take the Sallet helmet off. As you can see, it swings down quite fast, and it can be a bit scary when the visor snaps back down on you. And this is what it looks like with just the Bevor on and no Sallet helmet. It guards most of the neck. It would go over the top of the breastplate and near the pauldrons. And as you can see, it's strapped on by the neck here. Originally, when I first got this, I thought that it was a gorget, and I was like, why is there no back half? But it's called a Bevor. It's a different thing. It's essentially part of the helmet, because when the helmet is on just on its own, as I have it on now, it doesn't guard the whole head, essentially. It guards the top of your head and a little bit of the sides down to around the ears, but even when the visor is all the way down, covering your face, you can see that my chin is still sticking out, and we've got a nice exposed little chin there, and you can imagine what it would be like running around on the battlefield when you've got a full suit of plate armor and you've got this Sallet helmet, but your chin is sticking out. Obviously people are going to aim for your chin and exposed neck, which is incredibly vulnerable, and you wouldn't want to get hit in that particular area. Also, it's not the best to have that sort of massive open slit visor. It's all right, I guess, but I think there are better designs where, you know, there's just a few holes along the side, or there's a much sort of better visor. I can just imagine a well-shot arrow, or even more likely a luckily shot arrow, projected out of a bow or a crossbow or something, just sliding its way in the little gap there where you can see my eyes. Obviously, it would be quite hard to hit someone in the eyes, but you could still definitely get hit like that. And also, you would not want to get hit with a lance or even a spear at decent speed, or pretty much anything. You wouldn't want to get hit too hard with this thing on, because it's going to knock the helmet off. As you can see now, I've just gone ahead and put the helmet on first and then put the Bevor on, which is how it was supposedly most commonly worn. I'm taking it off now, but in that case, what can happen is someone will hit you in the head and the helmet will slide backwards, and you'll have a big exposed chin in between the Bevor and the helmet. I'm just going to take the helmet off now. As you can see, this is sort of what it looks like from the side when it's not on. It has a little tail that comes down the back of your neck, which is sort of supposed to guard your neck. It's rounded as opposed to the earlier flat models which were used on some of the other helmets that came before it in the 13th and 14th century. This helmet was more in the 15th century, from around 1460 onwards, and was inspired, I think, from Italy, and became popular in France and Britain and the Netherlands during the medieval period of the 1500s. Here you can see a better look of what it's like inside the Sallet helmet. We've got some sort of padding foam inside here. I don't know if that's leather or some type of foam. I imagine it would be some type of leather that they've used for the inside here. There's like a few little flappy bits on the inside at the top of the helmet, and then there's these little straps with tiny little buckles, and there's a bunch of rivets going around the outside of the Sallet which attach the leather. We've also got this little button and hole joint here at the bottom of the visor, which is used to lock the visor in place so that it doesn't slide up and down should you get hit in the face on the visor. You don't want someone just knocking your visor up and then going straight in for the killing blow. It looks not too bad from the side here. There's probably better designs where the visor will actually stay up just above your head with springs or whatever. Here we have the Bevor, which guards the neck. Some are articulated, some aren't. This one that I have here is somewhat articulated. The more fancier ones have a little spring-loaded visor thing on the mouth which can come down, and you can pull it down and pull it up and it will lock into place. This one isn't so fancy, but it does have a little bit of articulation. It's got a nice little brown leather strap here with some rather haphazardly punched holes all along the strap for attaching it to your neck. And we've got the nice little buckle here. It's fairly shiny. It's not too bad a polish. And you can see here that the pieces do move up and down somewhat. The articulation isn't great, and it's certainly not perfect, but it would do the trick for your standard infantry member. We've got some little curves going on there. Now, a major point to consider about this armor that I have here, in particular the Bevor, but also the Sallet as well, is the ridiculously sharp edges on the inside. Now, I have seen some other types of Bevor and Sallet that have padding on the inside, like proper cotton or linen or some type of padding that was used so that your mouth and lips didn't get cut up by the sharp edges. I don't know if you can really see, but around the corners, particularly of the area that is in contact with the mouth, there is like an unhemmed, just sharp ridge that could most definitely cut into your nose and your mouth and whatever part of your face is touching it. So it definitely would pay to spend a little bit of extra money and get some padding in there so that you're not going to get cut up just from getting whacked, even with like a stick or something in the face. It would push it in. This is particularly quite worse on the Sallet itself, which has a sharp piece which comes directly in contact with your nose. So that wouldn't have been too pleasant should you get hit in the face with a lance. Now, the Sallet and Bevor were used for quite a while, from around 1460 to around the first quarter of the 16th century, after which the Sallet was majoritively replaced by other helmets, such as the Burgonet, which were better at jousting and such, and could take the blow of a lance. More work was done into researching armor and helmets that could withstand blows from an attack like a lance on a horse. And if you were to get hit in the face with a lance while wearing a Sallet, it would not end well for you. And there were many cases of people getting terribly injured or even killed being hit in the face with a lance while wearing a Sallet, because shards of the lance would go into the helmet or into your neck or some other vital area of the face, which wasn't too good for you, and that was pretty bad news because you would most likely be incapacitated, which would probably result in your very soon demise upon the battlefield. Later on, medieval armor began to get faded out with the invention of gunpowder and other such artillery. For a while there was armor still used, and you would think that the Sallet would become pretty well redundant after the invention of gunpowder, because you can shoot straight through a medieval knight's helmet, especially a Sallet. But it did make a reappearance during World War I, I believe it was, possibly World War II as well. Helmets that looked very similar to a Sallet were used on the battlefield in World War I and II. Most notably, the Germans used a sort of Sallet helmet during World War II that resembled a Sallet quite a lot, but there was obviously no face guard. It was just the top half of the helmet with no visor, and obviously they didn't have a bever, they would just have the helmet, and that was enough. And that's a little bit about sallets and how they were used and how they were worn. You can quite easily actually just put a Sallet and Bevor on with no real assistance. It would be a lot easier if you had the help of a friend or someone else to help you equip the Sallet and Bevor, but you can quite easily strap it on yourself. I imagine it would be a lot harder to do, however, if you had pauldrons and a cuirass or breastplate on, full plate armor. If you're trying to put the helmet and Bevor on after you've got the cuirass and pauldrons on, that's going to be a bit of a nightmare. Unless you've got really well made pauldrons and your arms can articulate with pretty much no restriction, it's going to be quite uncomfortable getting the Sallet and Bevor on. I know this because when you, the armor that I have that goes with the Sallet, when you lift your arms up, the pauldrons have a tendency to dig into your neck when you come up there, and that can be a real pain when you're trying to do anything with your hands above your neckline, especially on your head. The pauldron just comes straight down and digs into your neck, so that could be a bit of a pain. If they were strapped on lower, perhaps, then you could possibly pull it off. If you had the long straps on the breastplate and you had the pauldrons tethered quite far away, you might be able to somehow put on your own Sallet and Bevor. But that's a basic point on the medieval Sallet and Bevor. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Goodbye.